So with services, it's about really taking time to listen to your client's needs. I feel like oftentimes the client comes to us for something and we sell them that thing. And we're not always taking inventory periodically to assess like what other needs do you have. And so in the ritual of servicing somebody, we're so focused on servicing, whether it's like I'm creating a financial plan for you or I'm creating an event for you. And so we're so embedded in that we don't take a step back and say like, oh, but this client had hired me to produce their event, also has all of these guests flying in from all over the place that need hotel confirmations, and I know that he doesn't want to do it. This can be a service that I can offer to him. But again, we're so in the weeds of our primary service that we don't take a pause and say, hey, I noticed you were really stressed with this component. Can we take this on for you? I'm happy to give you a quote for what that looks like.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com, and Talking with the Expert is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today my guest is Michelle Loretta. And Michelle is going to be talking to us about when marketing and money match up. And she has a degree in accounting, and it seems like Michelle had her career laid out for her when she began working in the corporate world at companies such as Deloitte and Coach. It wasn't until she started a stationery business in 2004 that she discovered what many already knew about at the time, was that events industry was chock full of incredibly talented creatives, but few had the business experience to truly understand the strategy behind running a sustainable company. Welcome, Michelle, and thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really fun talking with you.
Yeah, and so you went from working to Deloitte to owning a stationery company, and now you own B-Sage Consulting. Tell me a little bit about what B-Sage Consulting does.
Yeah, so I do business plan coaching for event business owners, and I also do financial strategy consulting. So I am marrying my history in this business. We are about to celebrate 12 years. At the time that I launched in 2009, I started as a blog. The blog was named Sage Wedding Pros, and the focus was to teach wedding professionals how to become more sage, more wise in their businesses. And so that little blog eventually evolved into educational programs like business planning workshops and human resource toolboxes and cash flow planning templates and things like that. And so that's how I've ended up on this circuitous path to where I ended now, and married all of my history into one perfect career, I think.
Well done. Yeah,
Yeah.
not many people can actually do that or say that they have married everything that they know or love into one
Yeah.
career path.
I feel very lucky, and to have been able to celebrate 12 years, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still doing this. I'm living the dream for sure.
Absolutely. So pricing a business is more than just the numbers. And
Mhm.
so it has a lot to do how you want to position yourself, obviously. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, can you walk me through some of the steps that can allow business owners to, get their higher prices for the services and goods?
Yeah. I think a lot of times when people are looking at pricing, especially newer business owners, they're thinking of pricing as a financial decision. It's a number that you're associating to a service or a product, and so you initially or you immediately jump to the math behind it. If I sell 20 of these services at $10,000, I'll make XYZ. The reality is that pricing it's a marketing decision, and you really need to think of the marketing strategy, who your target market is, what their pain points are, what is their experience through life or in their own business, depending on what the nature of the services that you provide to them. And really be thinking of, how does your service solve their need? How unique and original is? What sort of competitive advantages do you have, or differences do you have, or niche do you have in the market that allow you to stand out? All of these components, which at the end of the day are basics of marketing strategy, all of those decisions are really what define your price, and the positioning in your market defines your price. Now, once you laid out those marketing pieces, this is when you can come in and test it financially. Because at the end of the day, you may be positioned in a market that says, oh, hey, you should be selling at, $10,000, but then you run the numbers and you realize, oh gosh, I'm never going to make any money like this, which happens. It happens a lot, especially when you're selling services more than products. Products is, a little bit more, you may have standard pricing in your industry, right? And so there's only so much threshold that you can do with products, but services can be all over the place. And so you really do need to think about, who am I servicing? What needs am I filling? How original or unique or different, or what sort of experience do I bring that nobody else brings to the table, that allows you to have this, I call it like a rarity quotient, because the more rare that you are, or that your services are, the more premium price you can attach to it. So it's the trickiest part of business ownership, pricing. It never stops being difficult.
No, I can fully understand that,
Yeah.
because there are not many people who offer the service that I offer in the other side of my business.
Yeah.
And I'm finding it like, because I don't want to do time for money, I want to, just offer packages.
Mm-hmm.
But, how do I actually price those so that, that I don't seem too cheap and people think, well, there's something wrong with my service, or I'm too expensive and I don't want to price myself from getting clients. So, I'm always caught in that conundrum that, and I've been, told that, Rose, you're too cheap, and Rose, you're too expensive. And, and it confuses me, am I too expensive because they just can't afford me, or really don't really need my services, but they're just tire kicking? Or am I too cheap, and the people that really want me don't think that I'm capable because the price is too low? And I so totally understand the how difficult that it is to price yourself.
It's a conundrum.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, I don't think there's obviously not a one size fits all.
No, absolutely not. And with services, it can feel incredibly arbitrary. You can see this, a similar service that somebody maybe is selling for $100 and somebody else is selling it for $3,000. And so it's like, well, what allows these two people to compete in the market? I would say that with services, there's definitely something to the perception of pricing. So if the price is too low, you can back yourself out, or cut yourself off from working with more premium clients who will respect your work and value your work and pay you for your work. So it is a tricky spot, because you do have to be prepared to hear some no's. And I'd say that any business owner that has been in business for a while will tell you're always going to hear no's, because not everyone is a fit for you. Not everybody understands the value of what you do. And so it's really trying to find, again, we're going back to the market match, right? Like, who are the customers that are going to pay a little bit more of a premium and value what I do and really need what I do, and so that I can provide them with the services that is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it's the same with pricing a course. You see a very similar course on the marketplace for X amount of dollars, and you try to offer a little bit more. And so, because your time is valuable as an entrepreneur, and you need to price the course or program appropriately. But then you get crickets, because it's they can find someone a little bit cheaper, but
and there's free service. Right. There's free advice too. That's the tricky thing sometimes, is that we're even competing with things that are free sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know one of the programs that I'm offering is, there's a lady doing it for like, I don't know, less than $30, and I just couldn't do it for less than $30. I mean, she must be a squillionaire, because I just couldn't possibly do it for that.
Courses is the trickiest one. That's a great example because I see something that's at $30 and something similar for $1,000. And I think a savvy buyer is really going to start digging under the hood to kind of see what's in there. As a consumer, I would look at a course thinking $30 and think like, well, I don't know if that's going to be as valuable as something that is maybe $1,000. $1,000 investment in my business seems like I'm also going to take it more seriously when I'm doing the coursework. The $30 one, I may never even get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've
Yeah.
done the same. I've, paid not a lot of money for a course, and it's still sitting in my bookmarks bar, because I think, well, I'll get to that one day. But if
Yeah.
I'm paying something, like over $1,000, I would actually make a completion because, $1,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there are products and services. I'd say courses is one of the hardest things to price. So the conversation that I have a lot right now in our industry, event education has increased every year. And we have some amazing educators, and this is a conversation I'm having with people all the time, how to price courses. Um, I think you also, with courses, you need to be thinking of your reach. If you have a gigantic mailing list and you know that you're going to convert thousands of um, of buyers, then you can sacrifice the price a little bit to kind of move the dial. But if you don't have a huge list and you're maybe going off relationships and reputation, then it may be valuable for you to have a more expensive course, because then it really becomes about selling them something that's a little bit more specialized. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's a hard market,
Yeah.
course and programs.
Uh-huh.
It's harder even than servicing. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about brand shifts that command higher dollars. How can people shift their brand perhaps and get that extra premium money?
Yeah. Um, I think people, I always call it, people have math trauma from third grade, and I think that fear, that trauma dictates their relationship with money and their ability to ask for money. And so I think one of the biggest things, even though pricing isn't necessarily a financial decision, I say it's a marketing decision you test financially, is getting comfortable with your finances. Because if you know exactly what's happening behind your business and you start to examine those dollars and say, oh, okay, well, in order for me to reach my financial goals, if I want to earn 100,000 US dollars, I need to sell these services at $10,000 a pop in order for me to cover my overhead and then pocket $100,000. That really kind of changes the relationship that you have with your price and with your selling, and feeling confident about that. So one thing I always say is, start to understand your numbers. Doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be an expert in accounting, right? Like nobody needs another degree in their small business pursuits, but that education can go a really long way. And then seek opportunities to improve confidence. And a lot of times that can come in the form of establishing relationships with colleagues or other people who are doing similar things to you. The wonderful thing these days is that we have so many great Facebook groups, or if we take courses ourselves, a lot of times that there's communities involved, or maybe there's inherent communities in our industry. We have a really strong event industry community. And even though people aren't necessarily gathering, people are having conversations online. All of that can really improve confidence. Joining a mastermind, or even having two or three colleagues that you casually form a mastermind, can really help feeling validation for a lot of your decisions and feeling confident in the way that you price. And also can be an incredible source of education to have that. Coaches can be great at that too. Coaches are an incredible resource to pick their brain, ask them what they think, help have them help you troubleshoot, And again, get that validation. Am I really going in the right direction with this price? I'm not really thinking about it too much.
Mm.
I think at the end of the day, it's experimentation, right? So you're never really going to get it right the first time, and maybe even not the second or third or 10th time. But each time you do something, you introduce a new product and you launch something, you learn a little bit more about how to price something or how to sell something or how to position something. I started selling downloads on my website for like $1, $5, like 15, 10, 12 years ago. That's hard to even think about. People wouldn't be that low. In those days, they were really almost equivalent to freebies, right? So about 12 years ago, blogging was still big. And so you kind of put like a little offer, and you may have something that was free. There wasn't newsletter buy-in, signups in those days. I think they kind of started a little bit later. So you got their information, their conversion by accepting $1 from them. And it was a little bit of a commitment. They had to pay like $1 or $2, And so that was the first big experiment that I did with, the education market, is just learning how to sell like those small little templates. And so think of, especially if you're new to this, think of those first things that are really just going to be a test to see what is it that people like, what are people connecting with, what are people willing to pay for. And you continue playing for the rest of your life in business. I mean, I've been in business in one business or another now for 17 years, and it's still a guessing game. So it doesn't go away.
No.
Yeah.
So I guess moving, in line with that conversation, selling smarter, and obviously upselling is a bonus if you can do that.
Yes.
So, how can people restructure their prices or their services and do that to be able to upsell?
Yeah. So with services, it's about really taking time to listen to your client's needs. I feel like oftentimes the client comes to us for something and we sell them that thing. And we're not always taking inventory periodically to assess like what other needs do you have. And so in the ritual of servicing somebody, we're so focused on servicing, whether it's like I'm creating a financial plan for you or I'm creating an event for you. And so we're so embedded in that we don't take a step back and say like, oh, but this client had hired me to produce their event, also has all of these guests flying in from all over the place that need hotel confirmations, and I know that he doesn't want to do it. This can be a service that I can offer to him. But again, we're so in the weeds of our primary service that we don't take a pause and say, hey, I noticed you were really stressed with this component. Can we take this on for you? I'm happy to give you a quote for what that looks like. And so all service businesses have that opportunity if we take that pause and we're constantly asking our clients what they need additional help with. There's always additional opportunities. And so they may come in for a base product at a base price, but at the end of the day, if we're continually looking for additional ways to service them, they may end up doubling their original, price with you, or more so, right? The sky's the limit. That I know sometimes the word add-on or upsell has a negative connotation, but I don't see it as negative at all because we're in the business of servicing our clients. And if they have a need and we're not addressing that need, that we're not servicing them, we're leaving them stranded, right? Because maybe we're a little too nervous to say, oh, hey, I can sell that to you for $1,000. Well, the angle isn't about selling them something additional. It's really about like, they need help and you know how to give them that help, right? And so that's the case with services. With product, especially online product, it's more like technology based. It's more about they buy your course and you're like, hey, you want this additional $75 thing? Add it to your your cart now, right? I've received emails afterwards during the holidays where I bought some dish towels or something that were like these magical dish towels. And, I get my email confirmation and 1 second later I get, oh, hey, by the way, we're having this thing. Just press this. It's $10 more and we'll ship it out to you. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. Okay, fine. I'll do that. Right. And so if it's an online product, there's technology that can help us with those things. But again, it's the equivalent of the old, you go walk into McDonald's and they're like, do you want fries with that?
Mm.
That has such a negative connotation because we've been nickeled and dimed by McDonald's or airlines or whatever, right? But it doesn't need to have that negative connotation. It doesn't need to be sleazy. It can be very organic, because at the end of the day, if you're paying attention to your clients, you're going to know their needs. That person with the dish towel, they probably saw that I had, like, scrolled down in front of that one little thing, right? They knew that my curiosity had been piqued. So if we're
Yeah.
listening to our clients' needs, there's always additional opportunity to do more business with them.
Yeah, it's a bit like Facebook, or Google.
Yeah.
You go and you click on an ad because you think, oh yeah, that looks really interesting. I'd like to have a look at that. And then next thing you know, your feed's flooded with similar product or services. I thought, how do they know that?
I know, I know, I know, I know. It's so crazy. And sometimes it's the craziest product too. I don't know what it was, but I ended up like having bras being sold to me for like 6 months. I was like, oh my God, enough of the bras.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I looked at some automation thing, and I thought, oh my God, I'm over it. Just go
Yeah,
away,
yeah, yeah,
because I'm into making videos as well, and now my feed is flooded into, how to make quicker videos, and give up
yeah.
this platform and use this one because it's a lot better, and da 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 da. And I think, go away.
The pixel, it's a powerful thing, the Facebook pixel. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we need to do something about that.
Yeah. Well, you can hide the ads. If you're tired of seeing an ad,
Yes,
just hide it.
yeah,
I've got to be
I
better
have
about
been, but you get
remembering it.
sick
I
of,
just
because
don't even want to
every
see it.
every second thing in your feed is like an ad for the same thing, and
Yeah.
go away. But anyway,
I know.
so being rare in the market, so being somebody who's doing something, a little bit different, that can obviously increase the value in the marketplace. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to say that, rarity breeds value, which is what ultimately dictates your price, right? So, and rarity can come in different forms, right? In the events industry, there's a gazillion event planners, but maybe there's only one in Los Angeles that focuses on Persian weddings, right? And so that rarity is more of a niche, and not everybody has a niche business or wants to have a niche business. But there's still original things that you can find to stand out in the way that you communicate in your messaging. And oftentimes with service providers, it's personality, right? And so when looking for a business coach or a consultant, a lot of times it's going to be, how do I connect with this person? Um, what are the things that this person is talking about? Are they talking about things that relate to me as maybe a working mom? Or are they talking about things that relate to me as a lawyer, or somebody that's in an analytical career that really wants to exit that and start a creative career? And so there's ways that you can communicate and really connect with an audience in a different way. I think oftentimes what we try to do as business owners is we think that we need all the dollars, or we need everybody. I need everybody to buy from me. But the reality is, you don't need everybody to buy from you. If you're a service provider, you may only need 20 paying customers every year. And so trying to appeal to hundreds of thousands of people doesn't do you any good when you really only need 20. So what are those 20, or what is something unique about you that you can communicate that those 20 will want? So once you find that really unique piece, either in your personality, in your services, in a niche, something unique that you do, maybe it's your experience or your background, once you find that, then that creates this really rare little diamond, right? Like, why are diamonds so expensive? It's because they're a rare gem. And so once you find that rarity, all of a sudden the service provider, this product is very, very rare, and its value increases, right? And so I'm one of the only people in my industry that I may be the only person who provides financial strategy consulting. And so that rarity introduces a value for the industry that not many people can offer. And so I probably should charge more now that I think about it. And that's kind of what I'm going at, is that if you really are one of the few people who can do what you do, then all of a sudden people are like, well, I want to work with them. I'm going to pay her whatever she's worth, right? And we see that happen. And we know that as consumers too. We see something and we say, "Oh God, I don't know if I want to pay that much," but they're the only ones who are going to do a good job. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to swallow it and pay it. We always make money available for the things that we know are going to be of high value, and especially if we know we can't find that anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with that. So, Michelle, have you written any books or a podcast? You don't have time for a podcast.
Oh gosh, I really should write a book because I've written 1,400 blog posts and I probably have way more material for a book. No, I will write a book at someday. I actually, for fun, I participate in the National Novel Writing Month every November. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's the NaNoWriMo Challenge. And so I do write a fictional novel that has nothing to do with my business every November. It's usually horrible and nobody ever sees it, but it's a really fun hobby. So those are the only books I've written, and they won't see the light of day, but maybe one day one of them will make it.
Oh, okay. That's fine. As long as you enjoy doing it, that's the
Yeah,
main
it's
thing.
fun. I need to have an outlet from the heady stuff sometimes.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
Michelle, where can people find you?
They can find me at bsageconsulting.com. And if you are on Instagram or Twitter or any of the channels, you can find me at bsage always.
Okay, lovely. Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you today. And
So
thank you
nice
so
talking
much for
with you
joining
too.
me.
Thanks, Rose.
All right. Bye for now.